Jeevan Vidya 10 days online workshop. Today we will start with our student. We'll start our session with a little sharing by Padmaja Garu. Hello, Padmaja Garu.
Hello.
Could you please start sharing?
Yes. Is my voice clear?
Yeah,
Srinivas?
clear. Yeah, clear.
Okay. Hello, everyone, and good morning to all. I'm Padmaja from Rajahmundry. I'm a cost accountant by profession, and my passion to explore human psychology has driven me to pursue psychology. I want to describe my journey with CHDHC briefly. I've attended 6th and 7th batch online workshops. I'm participating in this 8th batch because I'm so much connected to this content that it has become a part of myself. I feel we cannot change the whole world, but we can start with ourselves. Because despite having all material comforts, we feel miserable and helpless sometimes. Despite having family, friends, and relatives, we feel lonely. Why it's happening so? We can't find answers in this workshop. My experience is that I have found answers here in this forum. Not immediately, but gradually as I keep working on it. It's really tough to practically absorb this content. We are already here with preconditioned minds, and our mindset is shaped by the experiences we had in our lives and influenced by the environment around us. So, we need to attend these workshops regularly. All the CHDHC members who conduct these workshops are so patient in clarifying our doubts. It definitely takes time to understand this content and get convinced about it, but it surely helps us to be better persons with a broader perspective of life. As for me, in my exploration of life, this is the best milestone, and I felt the best of the thoughts are shared here in this forum because this is like a big family where everyone shares their thoughts and problems and gets support from the members. Actually, this kind of sharing of inner feelings should happen in our families, which is not happening right now. So, I suggest all the participants to have absolute concentration on the sessions, which will definitely help us in leading a better life. It's an absolutely wonderful content. Perhaps it shows a way to master the art of life. I express my gratitude to those who brought this content to light and to those who take pains to spread this knowledge to all. Thank you, one and all, and I wish the best to all the participants. Thank you, Srinivas garu.
Thank you, Padmaja Garu. And with that starting note or starting sharing, I'll hand over the session to the Suman Garu.
Thank you, Srinivas and Badbaja madam. Um, Welcome everybody to day three of our 10-day workshop on universal human values and Jeevan Vidya. So in the first 2 days, we have been talking about a lot of things. We have been exploring into ourselves, trying to understand human being and what is required to be happy and comfortable all the time, continuously prosperous. I mean, let's briefly look at that once, and then we'll get started on the new things that we. So we tried looking into the human being. So we started with the exploration that we need right understanding, and we need right understanding of various levels where we live, various dimensions and situations we live in. That is, I live with myself. I live as a member of the family. I live as a member of society. I live as part of nature. So we tried to identify that in understanding human being, first we need to understand is what is the aspiration of a human being, what are we trying to do as human beings. So in that we try to observe that every desire that we have, um, is my audio coming clear? Is it okay?
And now it's okay. Now it's okay. Someone, somebody Their audio is on, so that it's disturbing. Now it's okay.
Okay, all right. So, so we try to identify that the what we try to look into what is exactly the root desire. Everything that we do, what are we trying to achieve as human beings? So in that process, we observe that everything, each of our desires or various things that we do, that like for example, we going to school, college, education, getting a job, all those we identified as stepping stones to happiness. So within myself, I want to be happy. I want to be in a state of situation which is harmonious, which is continuously harmonious wherever I am. That is whether I am with myself, with my body, with family, society, nature, wherever I am, I want to be in that state of harmony. And that is the goal that every human being is trying to achieve. That we called as happiness, and we want this state to be continuous, as continuous as possible. We don't want, I mean, just pieces of it is not sufficient. We need the continuity of this harmony, and this inner state of ourselves is what we are trying to achieve. And then we also noted that prosperity is also important.
సుమన్ గారు వాయిస్ ఇంకా డిస్టర్బెన్స్ గా ఉంది కొంచెం, అంటే అక్కడక్కడ కట్ అవుతుందని
Okay.
అంటున్నారు.
Okay. Let me quickly exit and rejoin. 1 second.
ఓకే. Meanwhile, people who did not mute your audio or video yet, please mute it. Mahesh Babu garu, please mute your video. Mahesh Babu ji,
Okay.
please mute. Yeah, he's back.
I'm back. Is it better now? Is it okay? Can maybe you can give your input in the chat window. Is it okay now? My audio is clear. Okay, great. Thank you. All right. So let's continue. So we saw that the basic aspiration of a human being is happiness, and everything, all the sub desires, like I want a house, I want a car, I want good job, I want a lot of money, I want happy people around me, I want a happy relationships. All these are basically sub desires to achieve this higher desire or the root desire of being happy. And we wanted to define this happiness because there are so many vague definitions of happiness, and we think that it is not even possible to define happiness. So we said that happiness, I mean, with the proposal in front of you, was that happiness is a state within me which is harmonious, and this state, irrespective of wherever I am, whether I am with myself, whether I am with my body, whether I am interacting with family members, in part of society, nature, wherever I am, I need to have a harmonious state within me, and this harmonious state is defined as happiness. Now we saw that how to achieve this state is the program to achieve that we mentioned. And before going into the program, we also said that we also need happiness, but we need prosperity also. So prosperity is not wealth. Prosperity is not being rich. Prosperity is not accumulation of lot of things. Prosperity needs things, needs money, needs facilities, but lot of money, lot of facilities, lot of assets, and lot of resources doesn't necessarily indicate a feeling of prosperity, right? So we come across a lot of people, many people who have a lot of wealth, who are very rich, who are very a lot of assets and everything, but they don't have this feeling of prosperity. They still feel deprived. There is still something more I need to earn to become more comfortable or more powerful, right? So this feeling of prosperity has nothing to do with how much I have. It's about, first of all, identifying how much I need, and then having the skills and producing whatever I need more than whatever I need. Then I will have this feeling of prosperity. It can come for somebody with 1 lakh, it can come for somebody with 10 lakhs, it can come for somebody with 1 crore. We don't know. First thing is we need to identify the need. Every person's situation is different. Everybody's context is different. We cannot say that, okay, you just need this much. We are first of all saying that facilities are important. We are not undermining the importance of facilities or money or wealth. We are saying that unless we identify the need, we will never have this feeling of prosperity. And we have not attempted even to identify this need because somehow we thought it's infinitely required. How much ever I have, I still need to accumulate some more so that I can secure my future generations, etc. But and the reason for that also we saw yesterday, that confusion between the body and the self. We'll come to that, right? Okay. Now we define prosperity as this feeling of having the facilities I need and more than what I need. Only when I feel I have more than what I need, I will have a feeling of sharing with the others. Otherwise, I will try to exploit the others, whether it is at individual level, at societal level, or at nature level. I keep exploiting. Somebody needs to mute. There is a lot of noise. I request everybody to mute, please, so that the others will not be disturbed. Yeah, I think it's better now. Thank you. So we need to, so if we have this feeling of prosperity, I have what I need and I have a little more than what I need, so I can share with somebody so that somebody else is also can feel comfortable. That is the feeling of prosperity. But if I don't have that, if I feel deprived, oh, I don't still have what I need, then I will try to exploit. I will try to exploit people. I will try to exploit societies. I mean, organizations exploit people, countries exploit other countries, and we see even war, right? And then we also exploit natural resources because we don't know how many of these we need. We keep accumulating more and more from the nature also. So it creates exploitation of nature also. So this we saw is the human aspiration, that we want to be happy, we want to be prosperous, and we want a continuity of these feelings. By the way, prosperity is a feeling. Prosperity is not the bank balance. Prosperity is a feeling within me that I have more than what I need. That's an important thing to note. All right. So now I want happy. I want to be continuously. And you are saying that we don't need small pieces of happiness. Like, for example, when I eat an ice cream, I get a little bit of happiness for half an hour. That's not what we need. We are not undermining that. There is a role for that. We'll come to that. But what we need is much more. The self needs a continuous happiness. So for that, we said the proposal in front of you is that if you want to achieve that continuous happiness, then the proposal is we need right understanding and living in harmony at all levels of my existence. So that is within myself, family, society, nature. I need to understand all these levels, and my participation in these levels need to be harmonious. And then I can feel comfortable within. So the focus is on myself, is on understanding myself, and then my participation in these levels. Not on fixing society, not on fixing nature, and not on fixing family. My participation in family needs to be harmonious. My participation in society needs to be harmonious, and my participation with nature needs to be harmonious. So that can be achieved by properly understanding these levels. We will understand them in these 10 days. We'll try to understand them. All right, and then we observe the scope of living. That if we spend most of the time in the world of physical facilities trying to achieve more and more of these, our life will be incomplete, because as human beings, we need all three things, that is right understanding, relationships, and physical facilities. If we are focusing on only any of them, in fact, even if we focus on only right understanding, the physical facilities part is also important. We will feel deprived of, like, how do I take care of me, my family, those worries will be there. So all of them are important, but the focus is right now too much on physical facilities, as you all observed. And if we focus on all the three, then our life will be more complete as a human being. For animals, this is sufficient, that they focus on the facilities, and this is necessary and sufficient for animals, but for human beings, all three are required. Okay. And then we went on to see that the happiness is not the sensations that we get, not the excitement, not the attention from the others, not about dominance, because all these are temporary in nature or dependent on others. So these are not the kind of happinesses that we need. Little bit of harmony is achieved at every time when we eat something and the taste is exactly what we wanted, then we feel good. So that sensational happiness is very temporary in nature. but that's not sufficient for our self, as we saw. It needs continuous happiness, right? Then we went on to see what is the understanding human being in a we went a little deeper into the human being. Okay, first we saw at a higher level what are the goals, how to achieve them. Then we went on to see into the detail of the human being, a human being as a coexistence of self and body. This was an important proposal in front of you, put forward in front of you. And then we said this self and body, the needs are completely different. So self and body together, they coexist. And in this coexistence, information is exchanged between the self and body. So for example, something comes and hits my body, that information is passed by my body to the self. And then my self observes that information and takes a decision and in the form of a response. So this coexistence is continuously happening and is exchanging information between the two. I'm still getting some voice related chats. Is it okay for most of you, the audio from my phone?
Clear Andy.
Okay, good. Thank you. Fine. So this coexistence is there between the self and the body, and then we try to understand. Okay, we all thought that human being is just one thing. Now we are differentiating between something called a self and body. We went on to see what are the differences, what are the different aspects of these two parts of the human being. So then we said needs. So human being, the needs of the self, the trust, respect, satisfaction, these kind of things are the needs of the self, not the needs of the body. My body doesn't need trust. My body doesn't need, peace, satisfaction, respect, etc. It's myself that is needing these feelings within to feel harmonious, right? Whereas the body needs nurturing, protection, and right utilization. That means
to be. Hello. Am I audible? Oops.
Yes,
Just a second, sorry.
okay. So we said the body needs nurturing, protection, and right utilization. So for we need to nurture our body for it to be healthy and protect it from temperature changes or any kinds of damages from the outside. So we need to protect it and then rightly utilize it. So we use it for, like, for example, walking, talking. We use it for going from one place to other, to see some things, to touch and feel. So all this we are using the body. So the needs of the body are to nurture, protection, and the right utilization, right? And so we summarize saying that the needs of the self is actually the happiness part. The continuous happiness part is the need of the self, whereas the facilities are all going towards the body, right? So when we eat food, the food is actually going for the nurturing of the body, whereas the taste part is going to the self. So whether the food is tasty or not, or whether it is rotten. Suppose I'm eating a banana, and if the banana is rotten, then that information that it is rotten is actually observed by the self. So the sensation when I put the banana in my mouth is the mouth, the taste of it goes to the self. Okay, self observes that, okay, this is not how the banana is supposed to taste. It should be different. This looks like a spoiled banana. So that conclusion that it is a spoiled banana or a rotten banana is done in the self. And then we decide, okay, discard this banana. If it is all good, then that decision is also, that information when is used by the self, and it decides that, okay, this banana is a sweet and tasty banana, we can consume it. So that's all happening in the self. And information exchange is happening between the body and the self. And then the important difference is that the needs in the self are continuous. That is, this happiness, which is a need of the self, is a continuous need. It is not for like 1 minute or 2 minutes or half an hour or 1 hour. We want to be happy continuously if possible, and not for some time in the day, right? And not once in a while. Whereas the bodily needs like eating, protection, and right utilization, these are temporal in nature. Whenever we are hungry, we want to eat because the body needs the food for its continuity. Similarly, whenever we wear some clothes to protect it from temperatures. If it's too cold, we wear a jacket, or if it's raining, we wear a raincoat. So all this kind of protection we provide to the body on need basis. It's not a continuous need. And we observe that in quantity, these needs of the self are qualitative. There is nothing like, little respect or more respect or 100 ml of respect or 1 liter of respect. It's whether I have the feeling of respect or whether I don't have the feeling of respect. That is what is in the self. It's a qualitative thing. Whereas in the bodily needs, we know that it is whether how much food we want. Oh, no, this is too much food. I can't eat so much. I need, or sometimes we say, I need some more. I'm still hungry. So these are quantitative in nature. We can measure them. And the fulfillment, this is the most important part. So the needs of the self can only be fulfilled by the right understanding and right feelings. So the right understanding about all the levels I live in and how to live harmoniously in those levels. And the consequence of that is the happiness. This is the fulfillment for the self. Whereas the food, clothes, and shelter, these kind of physical facilities are required for the nurturing, protection, and right utilization of the body. And we mentioned that the gross mistake that we are doing is that we are trying to use these food, clothing, shelter kind of facilities, gadgets, etc., to fulfill the needs of the self. So, and this cannot fulfill the needs of the self ever permanently, because these are temporary in nature. When I eat something, I feel good. That feeling of good will stay with me, let's say, for 1 minute, 2 minutes, or 5 minutes. It doesn't stay continuously with me. So, but the self's need of harmony is a continuous thing. It is a non-stop need. So when we try to fulfill with these, what happens is we try to make a mix of these. I will eat some nice breakfast, then watch a movie, then have some good lunch, take some rest, and then see something else, watch something else, or listen to some music, and then do something else. So wear some nice clothes, or drive around in a costly car, etc., and then go to bed. These are the kind of things where we are trying to fulfill the needs of self with the needs of the body. But we can observe that we will feel that this is not the right way, this is not bringing me satisfaction, this is not bringing me contentment. The reason is that this is not how the fulfillment is supposed to happen. The fulfillment is supposed to happen with the right understanding and the right feelings within me. If I have the right feelings within me towards everybody, and if I have the right understanding about everything around me, that's when I can feel this contentment and satisfaction and the happiness in the self. Right? And then, so we'll go into further detail into this in a little time. And then we went on to see the activities. So what goes on in the self? So the self is what is making decisions, right? So it is desiring, thinking, expecting. Is there any time in the day when we are not doing thinking or desiring or expecting? Can you please say in the chat window? Are these continuous, these activities, desiring, thinking, expecting? Yes. So these activities are continuously going on in the self, right? It's not for some time. These are always continuous. We cannot stop our thinking. Even in the sleep, we are thinking, we are dreaming, we are imagining things, and yes, right. So yeah, even in the sleep also we do this. So sometimes we don't pay attention to that, but if we start paying attention, even in the sleep, these activities are continuously going on. Try doing that. That I want to be conscious in the sleep, and then you will see that every minute you can observe what's going on even during the sleep. Right? And if you see the bodily things like eating, can we do it continuously? Activities of body, walking, or eating or watching or hearing, can we do continuously the activities in the body? No, these are on only for some time. So we can do these for some time, and then we need a change. We have to take rest, or we have to take a break, etc. So we can't do these things for continuously. So in the self, these things are happening continuously, whereas in the body, these are temporary in nature. Sometimes we do, and then sometimes we take rest, any activities, right? And then, so this fundamental difference in between the two is that the self is a conscious entity. So that is, it is not a material entity. It's a consciousness entity, whereas the body is a combination of physiochemical things like atoms, molecules, etc. All these put together, it becomes a body. So it's a physiochemical thing. So because of this fundamental difference in between the two, the nature of the two is different, and the needs are different. The fulfillment is different. Everything is different. And the next thing now that we will go into, and I noticed that you actually asked some nice questions also around this, and you tried to clarify in the evening discussion sessions. That's very nice. Now we will go further into the understanding this self a little bit more. So okay, let's take one activity of like to understand the interaction between the self and the body. Let's take the activity, a small event of a mosquito sitting and biting a human being. So let's see what happens between the self and the body in this when this event happens. So when this is happening, so the first thing that happens is the mosquito is sitting on the body, right? Maybe you can also tell. So what's the first thing? So mosquito sits in body. What happens next? Sits on body. What happens after this? Feeling the bite, itching, sucks blood. Okay, nice. So the itching. So there's some change is taking place in the body. Change taking place in body. Yeah, biting or discomfort, something is there. So there is some change taking place in the body. And then what happens? This change taking place in the body is communicated to the self in the form of information or sensation. Some itch or some change going on in the body is an information that the body passes to the self. Okay, now what is self doing? This information comes to the self, and what is happening in the self? What is going on in the self? Action. Take action. Okay. First, what happens in the self is it tries to process this information. So it tries to process it information, whether it is throw away, kill mosquito, relieve from itching, analysis. Yeah. So it is processing the information, and it is identifying how to respond. So it is comparing whether this information is safe for me or not, or whether I should respond or not. And then after this processing, the self is taking a decision to hit the mosquito. Right? So first the processing of this happens, and then the self is taking a decision. This important point. This is an important point, that it is actually taking the decision to hit the mosquito. So then what does the self do after this? After the self takes this decision, what is the self going to do? So the self is giving the instruction to the body. Saying, you lift this hand, the other hand, and hit that mosquito. Right? This instruction that it should lift the other hand and hit the mosquito on this hand is an instruction that is given by the self to the body. So instruction to body to move the other hand and hit it. Right? So then it moved the other hand and it hit the mosquito. And then again, there is this, what is the body doing? So the body will follow the instruction. So let's call it as follows the instruction. And after this, again, whatever, whether the mosquito is still there or not there, is right. The eye is observing it. The result, the final result, is again an information that goes back to the self, and the self either feels joy of achieving it or takes further action, right? So, but the most important thing that is happening is information is coming from the body to the self. Self is processing the information and then taking the decision to hit and instructing the body to hit. So what we see usually when the mosquito is sitting and we are hitting it, we think that body is taking its own decisions and involuntarily it is hitting the mosquito. No, the body is just sending the information to the self. It all happens so fast that we don't even observe these things happening. We think that it is involuntarily happening. My other hand is automatically going and hitting that mosquito. My eye is seeing it, and then it is the other hand is taking. Is my other hand taking the decision, or the self is taking this decision? Can you all see this? Who is taking this decision of hitting the mosquito? Is it happening in the body or in the self? Self. Okay. Yes. So this decision of hitting the body is happening in the self. Or somebody said that brain. So what brain is doing is that it is collecting all this information. The eyes are sending some information. The body is sending some information. The nose is sending some. Lot of information is coming from everywhere. All the processing of this information goes to the brain, and then from there it goes to the self. So ultimately this decision to hit is actually happening in the self. So because you see the same body, if we sometimes, let's say a child is sleeping on your lap, right? And you're feeling the uncomfortable, you just feel like moving. But if you move, the child is going to wake up. So then in that case, you decide, okay, even if it is a little uncomfortable, I'll just sit like that for some more time because my kid is sleeping on my lap. Who is taking that decision to allow the child to sleep even though there is discomfort? Who is taking that decision to bear that pain or bear that discomfort? The self is taking that decision to even though all this information, the same kind of sensation, the same kind of information is coming from the body that there is some discomfort, and maybe you want to move. All that information is still coming from the body, but the decision whether to sit like that or move is being taken by the self. It's not happening in the body. So this is an important observation, that the self is the central decision maker for everything that we do. Similarly, I want to take one more example, right? In this case, I want to take the example of a person shouting at you or me or whoever it is. So this is the other person, and this is me, and in between there is body, right? This person is shouting. That information is coming to the body in the form of audio and body language and everything. And it comes to the brain, the body. Okay, so a lot of people are asking what is self made of, isn't it? We'll go into the self first. We are differentiating that there is something called as self and body. And in the next stage, whether it is today, if we have time, or tomorrow, we will go into what is going on in the self. We'll zoom into the self. What are the various things happening in the self? Okay, but first let's differentiate and try to understand what is this interaction between the body and the self. Right? This person is shouting, so this audio of that person, that words that he is using, and body language, visual. This is coming to the body, okay, and this information is passed to me, that is myself. And what is the kind of processing I am doing here? This person who is shouting at me, whether this person is let's say this person is a child, for example. What will be our response? How will our response be if this person is a child? So we will our analysis, whatever we are doing here, the analysis, and then response. And before that, a feeling is generated in us. So analysis and feeling, and then our response. And then the instruction goes to the body on what to do. So there are various options. Sometimes we shout. Sometimes we are calm and patient. Sometimes we take some decision to, take that, explain. Every time the responses are different, right? Suppose this person who is shouting is a child. What will it is our analysis? Oh, maybe this child is hungry. Oh, maybe this child is not feeling well. Then the feeling is different. So this feeling that comes to us is of like empathy. I feel empathetic towards the child, and my response is that okay, I'll be patient. I'll try to take care of the child. Okay. The same thing, same information, audio and same visual language, if it is coming from an elderly person or somebody whom we expect to behave better, then our feeling is immediately an anger is generated here, and our response is who is taking these feelings, and who are generating these responses. When somebody is shouting and we are taking our responses. Who are doing these responses? Can we see this? That we ourselves in the self are deciding our responses to various things happening outside. And then we decide, depending on the feeling that is generated, depending on the analysis that we are doing here, we will decide whether we are going to shout back, we are going to be patient and take care, or we are going to explain to the child, or whether if it is adult, how are we going to respond. So all these these decisions, these instructions to the body are given in the self. So this self is what is deciding, and whether anger should come or should not come, whether empathy should be there or some other nice feelings should be there. We will look into that in the next sessions when we come to relationships between two people. We will see that. But what I want you to observe here is that we say that, oh, the other person shouted at me, and I just couldn't even think about it. I just shouted back. Is there still a problem in the audio? I see 3-4 people saying there is problem in the audio. Maybe okay. Sometimes it is breaking, it seems. Okay. All right. We keep saying that, oh, I don't even have control over myself. I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm just doing it when somebody's doing something. But please note that we are the ones who are taking all these decisions on how to respond to these situations. The self in me is taking these decisions, and yeah. Otherwise, most of the times we are not even aware of this thing that is going on in us. If only if we start paying attention to ourselves and then observe ourselves in all these situations, when somebody is shouting or when somebody is praising, when somebody is being nice to us, not being nice to us, in all these situations, if we are paying attention to us, then we can see what is going on. How am I thinking? How am I responding? How are these feelings coming to me? All these we can observe if we pay attention. See, if we have not paid attention, then we don't know what's going on and how we are reacting or responding. But if we pay attention to ourselves, then only we can understand. So it's important to pay attention to ourselves on what is going on in the self. Okay. So I just wanted to draw your attention to the fact that self is the one which is making the decisions, and self is the one which is enjoying things and all that. So with that, I just wanted to I want to bring one more thing on how we are using the self, bodily things for the self. So sensations. So I want to bring to your attention on what are the various sensations related things that we are using for the self. So in sensations, let's start with the 5 senses, right? So taste. Let's start with taste. So what are the kind of facilities we are using? So when we are tasting the food, where is the taste going to? Who is enjoying the taste of the food? Is it the body which is enjoying the taste of the food, or the self is the one which is enjoying the taste of the food? Okay. So some of you are saying body. So the body is just, so when you put, for example, a gulab jamun or a sweet in your mouth. So what happens is that information that this gulab jamun is like this. It is that information is sent to the self. Okay, the self compares it. Okay, gulab jamun is supposed to be like this, and this one is like this. That comparison is happening in that in the self. Okay, and in the self we decide, okay, this is a good gulab jamun because the taste, the taste of this is matching with the taste I was expecting it to be. Whereas if the gulab jamun is not the way it is supposed to be, so we went to, suppose, a favorite sweet store or hot store, and then we ate something which we liked, a samosa or a gulab jamun or something. When we eat that, the mouth, the tongue is passing this information that this is how this thing is tasting. That information is going to the self, but the self is one which is doing that comparison and analysis that it is okay, this is tasty or not tasty. It is the body is merely passing the information. Whether you put a sour gulab jamun or a sweet gulab jamun or anything in the mouth, it will pass the information. This is how it is to the self. Similarly, the music. So, for example, when you hear the music, the audio is actually reaching the ears. Is your ear listening to the music or your self listening to the music? Who is listening to the music? Your ears on themselves, they are listening to the music, or the self is listening to the music and enjoying the music. Yeah, so the audio is sent via the body to the self. There is a role of body. We are not discarding the role of body in this whole process, right? So the audio of the music is going into the to the self, and the self is the one which is enjoying the music. Okay, this is how I like it. This is how I don't like it. Right. The ear is passing the information and sending it to the self, and the self is the one which is enjoying the music. Similarly, the smell. So the nose is enjoying the smell or disliking the smell, or is it the self which is enjoying the smell and disliking the smell? Yeah, comparison also. Our self has the ability to decide whether it is healthy for the body or not. So if you put something, sharp in the body, although it never happened to us, we can have a sense whether this is going to be healthy for the body or not healthy for the body. So our self will get a feeling whether this is going to be good for me and good for my body or not. So that's how we develop. Whatever is tasty we are developing is actually because we are developing something conducive, which is nutritious to the body, which is supposed to be like that. That's how we are supposed to use the taste. Right? Let's take one more example. So the AC, for example. So we are in a temperature controlled. For somebody who is living in who is used to live in, let's say, 20 degrees centigrade, how will 25 and then suppose the room temperature is 25, how will that person feel? He will feel warm or hot, or he will feel it is very cold, the 25 degrees. Who is used to live in 20, like suppose 20 degrees centigrade is the temperature in their place, like a Kashmir or somewhere else, or cold places. They will feel hot. Whereas for somebody who is used to living at 30-35 degrees centigrade temperature, and if you put them in the room with 25 degrees centigrade, how will they feel? Whether they'll feel cozy and comfortable and cold, or whether they will feel warm. So they will feel warm, right? So we are comparing our experience with what we wish to be. So we are used to, whoever is used to living in cold places, if you put them at 25, they will feel warm. Whereas people who are living at 40 and 35, if you put them at 25, they'll feel very cold, right? So who is feeling this cold and who is feeling this warmth? The body is sending the information to the self, but ultimately it's the self which is deciding whether it is, enjoying that weather or not enjoying that weather. Right? Okay. So now let's see. We said that we are using physical facilities to entertain the self, right? We are saying that we are using a lot of physical facilities to entertain the self, like whether it is the 5 senses of taste, touch, feel. So can we identify a few things, like using the taste we are trying to entertain the self? Can we identify a few things where we are using taste just for the self, not for the body, purely for the self? Are we using anything? Do we eat just for the taste and not for the hunger? Do we eat anything just for the taste but not for the body? Is there anything like that? Okay, so everybody has a different kind of thing, so let me write a few. So some of them are saying coffee is not required for their body, but they're eating it for entertaining the self. Similarly, some are saying sweets they're eating, that's not required for the body, but they're using it to entertain the self. Okay, somebody is saying liquor, they're using it to entertain the self, but not required by the body. And somebody is saying fast food they eat for the self, but that is not required for the body. Okay, somebody says pani puri. We are not drawing conclusions here, okay? You are telling it that this is not required for your body, but you are doing it only for yourself. Okay, somebody is saying drugs they don't need for the body, but they are eating it for the self. Okay, so yeah, then let's go into the next sensation, that is smell. So something that is not required for the body, but we are doing it purely for the self. Not required for nurturing, protection, and right utilization of the body, but we are doing it for the self. Okay, somebody is saying perfume we are using to entertain the self. Okay, most of you are saying costly perfumes and costly perfumes. Okay. All right. What about audio? That is the flowers. Okay. It's not required for the body. We are using it to entertain the self. Okay. Audio. Everybody is saying music is something we use to entertain the self, but it is not required for the body. Music. Anything else? Music. Good music. Listening to music. Sound pollution, etc. News. Okay. Listening to news, you're saying. Okay. Audio. Okay. This is all going to the self and not even required for the body. All right. Then let's go to the vision. How are we using the vision to entertain the self? Movies, nature, flowers, visualization, TV, tours, art, okay, travel, etc. Okay, and then what is the other one? Touch. Let's write about touch also. Can we say hug? Okay. Familiarity, cozy touch. Okay. Sports. Shake hand. Feeling cloth. Okay. Can we say air conditioning? Okay, it's also for the health of the body, so maybe that's why you're not saying that part. Okay. Pleasant weather. Okay. Massage. Okay. All right. Okay. Furniture. Nice. Furniture like the bed, the comfortable bed, etc. All right. Some part of it is required for the body also, if for it to be healthy. So okay, that's nice. So you have given a lot of things. So what we need to see when we are looking at these things is we are not undermining these things, but whether we are using these for the happiness of the self or whether we are using these to enhance our right understanding and right feelings is the thing I wanted to draw your attention to. So these senses, of course, for example, this workshop, we are attending this workshop, right? So for example, there is some audio, there is some video, you're getting all the information through various mediums. So all these senses are very, very important for us to get this right understanding and right feelings, and of course to keep the body healthy also. Like for example, taste will help me very much in determining whether I'm eating something which is healthy for me or not. But if I'm using these for entertaining myself, then we said those are temporary in nature. We can't continue to get these favorable sensations to entertain ourselves for long. We keep juggling between these. We eat a coffee, then we listen music, we muse. So continuously this keeps changing. In fact, I also want to draw your attention to the fact that initially taste is good and we want more of it. So I feel like the taste is good and it is necessary. Whatever we are doing is necessary. After some time, what happens is when we are continuously even doing it, it is still tasty, but we think it is unnecessary. When we are trying to use these things to create happiness for the self, after some time, what happens is it becomes tasteless, and we feel it is unnecessary. And after some time, it becomes, and if somebody is still forcing us, it becomes intolerable. So these are the phases that we go across when we are trying to create happiness for the self through the sensation. So initially, for example, when we are eating some tasty food, we will feel that the taste is good and it is necessary. We are enjoying the taste in the phase one. Then it becomes, if you are still eating, I want to eat some more, I want to drink some more coffee, let me drink some more coffee. It will still be tasty, but the tummy is full, so we'll think that, okay, it's not necessary anymore. After some time, if you're still drinking coffee, then it becomes tasteless. The taste is not conducive anymore, and it is unbearable. I mean, we can't, we are not able to drink. We are not even enjoying the taste in this phase. And in the fourth phase, if for someone is, we would stop it at stage 3, but if somebody is still forcing us to still have some more coffee, then it becomes intolerable. So if we are trying to, create happiness through sensations, we would go through all these phases. Try music, anything you see, whether it is music or whether it is food, sweets, pani puri or anything. Try any. They will go through these 4 phases. Okay. So then let's look at. Is there any question? I can take 1 or 2 questions on this. If any of you have questions, you can unmute and ask a question.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, hello.
How do you differentiate between mind and self?
We'll come to that, sir. When we are going into the details of the self, we will go to that. But is mind part of the body? We can ask this question as of now. Whether mind is part of the body or whether it is not part of the body. That much we can clearly ask for ourselves and see, and then we will know whether it is part of the body or whether it is not part of the body.
Yes, Suman, this is Pawan. The question that I have is, what if I don't even know coffee or perfume or music? How does it act?
Sorry, your voice is breaking. Can you say that again? So Prabhakar ji, can you please mute, because there is, if multiple people are unmuted, I think there is a noise. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Pawan ji, please go ahead.
So the question that I have is, what if I don't even know about coffee or I don't even know about music? What if I don't even know about movies? Basically, if I don't know about a specific thing, how would all of this will play?
So when you don't even know, what do you mean by you don't even know?
Let's assume I don't know coffee. I'm hearing that word for the first time in my life.
Yeah, yeah.
So all of this will kind of play a different thing, right?
Yeah. We are saying whatever we are eating, like it doesn't have to be coffee or it doesn't have to be the perfume or the music. But what we are saying is, what purpose are we using these sensations for? Even when I'm eating a completely new food for the first time, I have a feeling whether this is favorable sensation or not favorable sensation. But what we are trying to draw the attention to is, are we looking it as favorable sensation for myself, or are we looking at whether this is fulfilling the nutrition for my body or not? Are we even conscious about that part? Because what can physical facilities do? Physical facilities can only, the scope, the limitation of the physical facilities is that we saw in the self and body differences, that physical facilities can, the right role of physical facilities is to nurture, protect, and rightly utilize the body. Right? Am I eating for the sensations, or I'm eating because I'm hungry and I need to nurture my body? That's the question we need to ask ourselves. Next time when we are trying to eat something, let's try to ask this question, whether I'm eating because I just feel like eating, I want to entertain myself, I'm feeling bored and I'm feeling a little dull or stressful, so I'm eating just to entertain myself, or am I eating because my body is really needing something to, I mean, it's hungry and it is asking for something, that's why I'm eating. Let's look into this. And then the favorable sensation or unfavorable sensation is very useful. We are not discarding the taste. The taste is required to determine whether it is conducive to my body or not. So the moment you put in your mouth, suppose there is an allergic reaction, then obviously it's not conducive to my body. Or if something is very, very sour or something, we don't take it, right? So we will check whether it is conducive, and healthy food doesn't necessarily have to be distasteful. Healthy food can also be tasty. But the question we are trying to ask is whether I am eating to entertain the self or whether I am eating to nurture the body. This is the question we need to ask ourselves. And in our day-to-day life, we eat a few times a day, right? So every time we are eating, we can ask this question: am I eating now whether I am to entertain myself or whether I am eating because my body needs this? And that is what is leading to all these issues of obesity or, lack of control of weight and all this. Why do you think we are leading to obesity? Because we are eating to entertain the self, not for the body. That's when it goes to the state of obesity. Right? There could be some other, genetic issues. Putting those apart, most of the cases where the body becomes completely ill health because of eating is because we are eating because we are stressed. We are eating because we are feeling dull. We are eating because we feel depressed. We just want to entertain. Let's go have this and feel good about it. Right? So let's be aware when we are doing something, whether it is eating something or listening to something or visually or anything, all the five senses, whether I am doing this to for the bodily thing or for entertaining the self. This is the question I request you all to reflect upon.
Sure. Yeah.
So medicines are. Yeah. Thank you. Any other questions? One more question I can take.
Yeah. Just can I ask you a question, please?
Yes, Prabhakarji, please.
Yeah.
Nareshji, please mute. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. The question is, my question is, what is good for self and what is good for body? Are they contradictory? Because suppose you just said that obesity is because your body, it's not good for your body, but it is good for yourself. Self says that it is good, go ahead with that. So that is the reason why obesity results. But my point is that are they contradictory, or most of the times it appears to me that they're contradictory, definitely not complementary.
Okay, sure. I can respond to that question. So the thing is, without lack of understanding, if we are using these sensations and facilities to entertain ourselves, then they will look like contradictory. I want to feel like having a sweet, but I'm diabetic. Why is this body not letting me eat? Right? So it looks like it's a contradictory thing. But the fact is, the needs of the self are not meant to be fulfilled using the bodily sensations. But we are trying to fulfill those using the bodily sensations. So it will look as if my self want to get entertained using these sensations, but the body is not letting me. It is limiting me. But the fact is, I don't have the right understanding about myself, my goals, and how to fulfill them. So what is the way to fulfill the continuous happiness for the self? For every human being, it is about gaining that right understanding and living in harmony in myself, wherever I am, whether I'm with myself, with my body, with my family, with my society, nature, everywhere, wherever I am, with the right understanding, if I am in harmony, that doesn't need any physical facilities to be in that harmony. It doesn't need a coffee for me to, it doesn't need a tasty coffee for me to drink to be happy. It is the right understanding and the right feelings. Both of them actually don't need any physical facilities. That's the important thing to observe here. But what do we do because of lack of understanding? Because of lack of understanding this difference between the body and the self, we try to create these small favorable sensations for the self through the body, and that is what we are engrossed in most of our time. So there is no contradiction here actually. It is just the lack of understanding of the role of both body and the self, and how to fulfill the needs of this body and the self. We haven't understood properly, and hence we try to fulfill one with the other, and we fall into this issues, all kinds of issues. So I hope that makes sense. And yeah, so let's go.
Excuse me. Hello.
Yeah, please go ahead.
This is Vita. So we can also verify like this, like if you think it like to have the clarity, like if the self is asking you us to eat all that, then we take this proposal and go through it. But finally, it doesn't give to mutual happiness. That there is a lot of diseases in the body. So it is a
Perfect.
contradiction, right?
Exactly, ma'am. Yeah, you're absolutely using the right way to verify it. So if we take the proposal that should I use this food to create happiness for me, and if I use the self-verification proposal, although because of lack of my knowledge, myself may say that okay, go ahead, do it. It's not a big deal. Then, but if whether it leads to mutual prosperity, that will fail. My body is not going to be healthy. So that self-verification tool will actually help us also take these decisions.
Yeah.
Yep.
It is like if someone
Absolutely.
is feeling that it is a contradiction, then you can verify that through this tool. Like that is the tool is there for that only, like natural acceptance, and finally whether it is giving to mutual happiness and prosperity or not. So whenever we are
Absolutely.
confused, once we take our confusions through this tool, it is clarified that no, whether we should use it or whether we shouldn't use it, it is there actually. We will know it, right?
Absolutely. You're right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. So with that proposal, so we can try to see how much of our life we are trying to kind of create happiness for the self through the physical facilities and my sensations, whereas these are actually meant for the nurturing, protection, and right utilization of the body, and the physical facilities, they can enhance the capacity of my body. For example, this mobile phone is helping me talk to you, although you are located in some other country, and we are able to talk to each other. So this technology is helping us to helping enhance the capacity of my body. My body doesn't have this capacity to my voice to reach to India without this mobile phone. So the physical facilities have the very important role to rightly utilize my body, whereas but they are not meant for fulfilling the needs of the self. The needs of the self can only be fulfilled using the right feelings and right right understanding. There is absolutely no other way to fulfill this need of the self. So please reflect upon this, and I just want to draw attention to one more thing, that self and body. So the differences in approach. So I am, my body is. Both are existing. Okay. I want to live. This is in the self that I want to live. Whereas my body is an instrument for myself. And the self, I want to live with continuous happiness. And body needs nurturing, protection, and right utilization. And to fulfill this, I want to understand and live in harmony at all levels of my existence. And for this, for nurturing and protection and right utilization, I would need like things like production of food, grains, etc., production, protection, and physical facilities. So these are the differences between the self and the body. So the self is the one which is actually controlling the body and instructing the body to do various things. So another thing, for example, when I'm seeing something, are my eyes seeing or is my self seeing that picture? So the eyes are actually helping get that information, that image onto myself, but the self is actually looking at that image. So I am the seer. So the self is the seer. No, even first time or any time when we see something, that image is coming through my eyes, but it is actually going on to myself, and the self is the one it is seeing, it is processing that image, that this is a door, this is a chair, this is this is big, this is small, this is the color, all that is actually happening in the self. So I am the doer. So who is the one who is taking the decisions? Whether it is walking, talking, and responding to something, saying something, everything. Who is the doer? Is it the body or the self? Can you all respond? Who is the seer? Who is seeing things? Whether it is seeing, the eyes are seeing it, or the self is seeing things. So the self is seeing. And who is the doer? Is it the self or the body? All activities that we are doing, whether it is talking, who is talking? Myself is telling my mouth and my voice, vocal cords and everything. We have practiced to say a few things, like when you say do this, speak like this. So the body is executing those instructions, but what to speak, what content to speak, all that is actually happening in the self. So the self is the doer. My body is my instrument, one of the most sophisticated instruments that I have, that I can use to see, watch, walk, everything I can do using my body. But the instructions are coming from the self. So even when somebody comes and says something, who is reacting and responding? My self is actually reacting and responding. And the self is also the enjoyer. So when something is happy or when something is not happy, when something is good, when something is not good, I like it, I don't like it, all that is happening in the self. So my body is passing information, and taking instructions. So the self is the seer, doer, and the enjoyer. The self is the experiencer of everything, and the body is just passing information. It's very sophisticated, even in passing information and taking instructions. But ultimately, all the information is going to the self. All the instructions are coming from the self. So the self is the one which is very central to the human existence. Our whole life revolves around what goes on in the self. Body is executing all those instructions from the self. So I just want you to reflect upon this, that I am not my body. Me and my body are two different things, right? And the other thing I want you to reflect upon is facilities are not happiness. and clothes are not respect. Respect comes from the right understanding and right feelings. The attention that we get from the clothes, that is just a temporary high that we get because of the attention from the others. But that's not respect. But we'll understand what respect is when we go to human relationships. So if we have been thinking that I am this body, then let's reflect upon this. The proposal is that I am not my body. I am myself, and my body are two different things. Me as a whole is coexistence of the self and body both put together. And facilities, yeah, we'll go into the mind and we'll go into the self, man. That's what we are going to go into next. So we are going to see what this self is actually, and in that we will see what is going on in the self, what are the things that are going on in the self. We'll see. Right? And facilities are not happiness, because facilities are meant to nurture, protect, and right utilize the body. But the happiness is actually related to the self part. This is not for the body, and this is the body part. So they are two different things. Similarly, clothes are for the body, whereas the respect is for the self. So we can't try to achieve this with this. Right? Okay. So the next thing, we have about 10-15 minutes or so. So I just want to briefly introduce what goes on in the self, and then tomorrow you can come back and okay. Actually, there is one small thing maybe I want to introduce. We spoke about this, but yeah, so whatever you're asking, soul, atma, all these things, you can check, you can ask for yourselves whether the activities in these are continuous, whether these are continuously going on, or whether there are breaks. That will help you determine whether something is part of the body or not. So we saw that activities in the self, they are continuous, right? They are continuously going on. So, and whereas in the body, any activity that you have, whether it is walking, talking, eating, you will have you can't do it continuously. So maybe you can use that as a hint to reflect upon whether, the thinking, the mind, where are these, whether they are the part of the body or whether they are part of the self. Right? Okay. So now I just want to introduce the concept of like what is this self. So we have tried to understand the human being as a coexistence of body and self, and now we are going into the harmony in self. How can we achieve the harmony in the self? Okay. So the proposal here is that in self, there are three main activities that are going on. Desiring, thinking, selecting, or expectation. So these activities of desire, thought, and selection or expectation are continuously going on in the self. Okay, actually one interesting question. The body breathes, right? It is continuous. Yes, the body is breathing, but it is breathing with the consent of the self. So if you say body stop breathing, it will stop breathing, right? So it is not still going on without the consent of the self. Similarly, some people have asked heartbeat. It's going on in the self without the consent of the self. So even there you can see that when you are tensed or when you are worried, the heartbeat changes. So the self has control even on that. So that's why we have all this hypertension and blood pressure and all these things. So these things are going on in the body, even digestion for that matter. So the self, when we are worried, the digestion fails. So self still has control over the activities on the body, but they go on without much intervention from the self. They are continuously going on, whether it is breathing, even batting of eyelids, for example. I'm batting my eyelids, but I'm not every time consciously taking the decision that whether now I should bat my eyes are dry now, let me bat my eyelids. We are not doing that. It goes on. But if I want to, for example, stop batting eyelids and just continuously see for some time, I'm able to do it. So self has still control over those eyelids, over the breathing and all these things. But we have given consent for the body. Okay, please continue to do these. These are required for, living a healthy life. So please continue and do those things. Right. Yeah. So we are trying to, I'm trying to briefly mention what is going on in the self. So in self, there are these three activities of desiring, thinking, and expectation, which are going on continuously. So I have desires. For example, I have the desire to talk to you. So then I'm thinking, what should I talk to you? How should I explain this concept of self to you? And I think about it. Okay, I should say these words, not these words. And then I'm picking these things. Then I should draw like this to explain. I should use this color to draw. All this is the selections that I'm making. Okay. So these are continuously going on. There is no moment when these things are stopping in the self. And this is not a part of the body. It is a continuous activity that is going on in the self. Right? So the important thing in these is that, okay, let me take one example. Like, for example, desire. We have a desire to, we understand what desires are. So whatever we want to do, we want to achieve something, those are all desires. So for example, desires doesn't have to be very big things like I want to get a degree, I want to come first in the class, or I want to get a good job. These kind of big desires are there anyway. There are even small desires, like I want to walk from here to there. That's also a desire. I want to communicate this to you. That's also a desire. These are small desires which are part of the bigger desires to achieve something. So let's say I have a desire to build a house. So that is a desire. Then I'm thinking, how do I build this house? I'm analyzing how many rooms do I need, and whether I need 2 bedrooms, whether I need 3 bedrooms, how many kids I have, how big is my family. So all that analysis part is going on in the thinking, the thought level. And then we have this selection that we do. Okay, this I want. This is a level of taste actually. So I want this color. I don't want the dark colors. I want the light colors. I want this much lighting. These are all matters of taste, right? So then we pick a few things to express our thoughts. So that is also these steps are continuously going on in ourselves. If we observe, if we pay attention. So for example, after this workshop, I'm going to open my laptop. So I need to go to work. So let's say some of your software engineers, you may want to open your laptop. Okay, what is the work today? We are thinking continuously. There are desires that I need to work now. I want to eat now. I want to communicate now. I want to do this. I want to do that. Those are all continuously desires, small desires, small or big, are there in the self. And we are also thinking to execute these desires. How do I analyze these desires? How do I implement these desires? Those are also continuously there. And the selection is also going on. That's the taste. So the important part is, where are these desires coming from? That is the most important part for us to reflect upon. So these desires could be coming from 3 different sources. Okay. The first one is from the sensations. So purely based on sensations. So for example, I saw something beautiful. I want to buy that, or I want to own it, or I want to eat something because I just feel like eating it. So these are desires coming from the sensations. I saw a bunch of bananas. I immediately want to take one and eat. I am not even thinking about nurturing, protection, right utilization, whether I'm hungry. All that is gone. I just looked at a banana. I just had a desire that I should eat one banana. I'm taking it and eating it. So those are the desires coming based on the sensations. And then there are other set of desires that are coming from external, like preconditioning. So these are desires These may be good desires, or these may be not so good desires. Some of them may be, like for example, we are following a lot of things which we are hearing from friends, parents, or media. So the TV is telling continuously, do this, you'll be happy, do that, you'll be happy, buy this TV, you'll achieve happiness in your life, or buy this plan, subscribe to this plan, you will be happy, or buy these channels, watch these channels, you'll be happy. So these are all proposals coming from the outside. But if I have not verified, like somebody just did the self-verification process without without verification, I just took all those desires and put within me. I'm accumulating all these desires. These are like, there are maybe a lot of desires accumulated within me, which I have not verified whether I really need those or not. So, for example, somebody was playing and performing a guitar on the stage. I really liked that, and I had a desire that, okay, I should also learn an instrument. So I just picked up that desire then and there, right? So these are all conditioning-based desires. Or somebody is saying that come first in the class, come first in the class so many times that I have taken that desire and put within me. Now that becomes conditioning, that I have taken it. And there could be lots of conditionings that money, like for example, earn a lot of money and then you will be very happy in the life. Now that is, I'm not saying these desires are bad or good. I'm just saying that they are coming to us as conditioning proposals from the outside world, and we are just taking them and putting within ourselves. We are just accumulating them. We haven't verified whether these desires are really right desires or not right desires. These are aligned with understanding or not. And the third set of desires are the desires that come from my natural acceptance. These are the set of desires which are actually leading to my right understanding and harmony at all levels of my existence. These are coming from within me. So the natural acceptance is actually a part of me, inside myself. There is a inner, let's say, an inner layer within me, innate layer within myself, which is providing this natural acceptance to me. Okay, this we are referring to as innate nature of every human being. Innate nature, we call it as swattva, right? So this innate nature, this natural acceptance or the right understanding is here. So when the desires are coming from here, then those desires will lead to harmony wherever I am, whether I am in relationships, in society, in nature, within myself. The desires that are coming from natural acceptance will lead to harmony. If the desires are coming from preconditioning, then there is no guarantee. Some of them may lead to harmony, some of them may not lead to harmony. I have not verified them on my own right, whether those are really the right desires or not. And similarly, the desires related to sensations, these are basically the desires where we are using the body to entertain to try happiness. Okay, so can I ask, like, where are the desires that we have? What is the major source of your desires? Is it 1, or is it 2, or is it 3? As of now, you have written a list of desires, right? If you look at those desires, what is the source of our desires? Is it 1, 2, or 3? Yeah, the desires are many. There are many desires. But where are these desires coming from? Whether they are coming from sensations, whether they are coming from preconditioning, or they are coming from the natural acceptance. Okay. Some of you are saying sensations, and some of you are saying both 1 and 2. Some of you are saying 1, 2. Okay. Yeah. So most of the times what happens is, of course, sensation-based desires are anyway there. Like I just eat sometimes, I don't know, I just want that sensation of from the body, and I eat them. Yeah, some of them may be natural acceptance also, but whether it is by fluke their natural acceptance, or whether I have verified them and I have validated and then called them as coming from natural acceptance, that is something to be looked into. Yeah, so some of you are saying never looked into natural acceptance. Yeah, so there is something called as natural acceptance within ourselves, which is, so for example, now right now I'm sitting here, and if I'm thinking of taking somebody has insulted me, I want to take a revenge. There is some pain that is coming inside me. There is some pain that is generated inside me the moment I think of the taking this revenge, or having a feeling of opposition around about somebody. So that, where is this pain coming from? Where is this, who is telling that this is not harmonious, don't do this, don't go this route? So that is actually our innate nature. As a human being, we have this innate nature within us, which will be kind of guiding us all the time, that this is the right path to take. And we need to like train ourselves to access this innate nature. We haven't been trained, or we haven't thought or paid attention a lot of time to access this natural acceptance which is there within us. Within every human being, this is there. That's the beauty of this. Every human being that we have, everyone has this natural acceptance. Okay. Yeah, we are going to stop here because it is 8:30. And yeah, please look into this. Please look into your desires. You have written a list of desires, right? Just look at them. How many of them are coming from sensation-based things, or how many of them are coming from preconditioning, or how many of them we have validated and are coming from natural acceptance. So please reflect upon this, and then we can discuss further about this in the session tomorrow. And please reflect upon that sensations versus body, body versus self aspect. And in the discussion sessions in the evening, we will talk and difference between preconditioning and innate nature. Yeah, preconditioning is something that we haven't verified, we haven't validated whether this is really the right and desire for me. Is it harmonious for me? Is it leading to harmony at our levels? If I have validated, then I take that desire, and it becomes my part of my right understanding. Then that is coming from natural acceptance. But if the desire, without verification, I've just taken it to within me without validation, without verification whether it is harmonious or not, those desires are preconditioning based desires. Like I told you, like somebody we have been hearing all our life, like for example, saying that earn a lot of money and you will be happy. But we all know after a stage we realize that earning the money is part of it, but that's not the whole thing. There's a big set of things called relationships, which are the actual pain causers. And we haven't paid attention to understanding these relationships and how to live in this harmoniously, etc. So these kind of lot of desires we have innately, not innately, which we have taken up without verifying, and they are accumulated within us. So we have to look into all these desires slowly and evaluate all of them. So all the list of desires that you have, please evaluate whether each of them is coming from sensations, coming from preconditioning, or whether they are in accordance with your natural acceptance. Right? Okay, thank you. And please don't miss out on the discussion sessions, because that's where you can really actually put forward all your questions and interact and understand deeper, because 1.5 hours is very less actually for this kind of content. We need a lot more time to reflect upon these things. Let's at least now understand the importance of right understanding and try to put some time and effort into this to properly understand, so that our life is more harmonious and with more comfort. So I request you all to spend that time in the evening also to reflect upon these things. And now that at least we have understood that the right understanding is the most important thing, let's show it in our actions and show that importance by participating in the discussions in the evening. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.